Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday, May 21st meeting of Aylmer Town Council. Welcome to the gallery, a number of people here today. I remind you that please refrain from interrupting council proceedings. All right. We'll begin with a moment of reflection and respect. Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda, confirmation of the agenda. Owen?
That council adopts the agenda for the meeting of May 21st, 2025 with the addition of the following items. Item 5.1.2, Cynthia Grant regarding the Aylmer Library.
Mover and seconder, Councillor Chapman and Councillor Desrosiers. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Item 4, is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Item 5, delegations and public meetings. At this point, I would like to turn the chair over to Deputy Mayor Barber.
Thank you, members of council, staff, and all the people in attendance here tonight. The library issue for many, many years has been a very divisive issue within the municipality, and potentially with some kind of path forward may result from this evening's discussion. I'll remind everybody that the council meeting is an open meeting, in the respect that people that have asked for ability to delegate, to make a delegation before council, is the requirement to do so beforehand. As compared to an open meeting where interaction between council and the public can go back and forth, but this being a council meeting, the meeting is open, but it's with the only with the presentation of the people that have made an appointment before council. Are we good with that? And secondly, I'd just like to remind everybody that we're going to treat everybody with courtesy and respect from both sides. All right. First delegation is Kirk Behrens on behalf of the Downtown Aylmer Library Expansion supporters. Kirk? Second, just before Kirk, if you don't mind, the displaying of placards within a council meeting is not appropriate. If you would like to do so at the conclusion of the meeting, you're welcome to do so. But in the meantime, the cow is a great little picture, but if you could just keep the cow down for now, that would be appreciated. Thank you. Kirk?
Good evening, Council. Thank you for having my delegation. I will be brief. Interesting that a number of rules and regulations were either printed or read out as this particular crowd arrived, and I don't know if you were looking at anybody in particular, and I thought maybe the Mennos is who you were addressing. but at least they know that what the behavior procedure is. So thank you for stating that to begin. If you don't mind, I'm going to continue with where I left off in October earlier this year. And at that point, as a representative of the Dales Group, we came as a representation to talk about expansion. And we asked the council at that time to consider looking at a site and setting up a committee in order to promote expansion. And council agreed and said they would speak to Elgin about continuing with that. So that was in the fall. And then, as you know, things went a bit sideways there since that particular point, maybe more head spinning than you would find at a wind turbine meeting in the months that followed, as the Arena Board and Elgin County decided that they would like to take a different direction in terms of setting the library up at the arena. So Elgin chose to be a little impatient, we think, in what their plan was, and they moved ahead with that particular plan. But as we have discovered, that plan proved to be unpopular with citizens, with little justification, and I think something that would have impaired some of the service that they were interested in. And added to their process, as I do a quick review, was the statement that they were going to be the authority on where the library was going to be and that they can negotiate with any party. So we're glad that the town is finally getting back to us from October with what we think is a more positive reply to the original plan. And Aylmer now needs to inform Elgin that the proper, precedental, and popular party to negotiate with is right here, and the right place for the library is just over there. So thanks to the mayor and council for bringing this subject to fruition tonight, or discussion anyway. And we hope councilors will realize a couple things here. One, this has been a long process, and we are overdue for library expansion. And the site that's being discussed tonight, we think, is the best choice. Also, Elgin needs this decision at this point, as they are about to decide on their direction, and hopefully we'll have some patience as the process works its way out through. And we hope that the site commitment and the commitment for a plan and the commitment to proceed are going to be dealt with in a very, are very crucial to the process and need to be addressed as soon as possible. And we also hope that this, the plan that should have a proper size and location and costing is not excessive or out of touch, but simply is something that most other towns that we're aware of in southwestern Ontario have done, and done well, for years. And it's most important that Aylmer now responds to a call for action on this and provides the town with a great vision. So thank you very much for having us and for considering this step again. Thanks.
Thanks, Kirk. We have a motion.
That the delegation from Kirk Behrens of the Downtown Elbury Library Expansion supporters regarding the Elmer Library update be received for information.
And moved by Councillor Ocelach, second by Councillor Rahi. Further discussion? All those in favor? And the motion is carried. Thank you. And the second delegation is Cynthia Grant.
Thank you. I came in July and spoke of the needs of the library and related to the Old Town Hall. And I spoke in terms of a cultural hub and the kind of vibrancy that gives to a downtown. And I reflected on my youth and Mrs. Gibbons and the Carnegie Library. After that, John Houston said in an editorial of July 2024 that the town should sit down, discuss, make some decisions, get something done. And I think we're at a turning point now. The process imagined, I gather, both by the mayor and the council, that involved the county, as Kirk has referred to it, went sideways. And it's important now that Aylmer take back control of the decision-making. When county was going forward, and I unexpectedly was allowed to speak, I focused on this idea that Aylmer didn't need to consent. And any time that's in play, this idea that a community can be acted upon without the consent of the citizens, I think is highly objectionable. I hope I can work this well. So I've got a little PowerPoint. I've got a massive document that I hope you'll look at, because I spent a lot of time on this in the last year of my life, basically from the May 5th meeting of last year. Do I just press? Yes. Okay. So you can see I'm a bit of an amateur. But thanks to Chris Mayhew, who was our librarian for 30 years, we've had the opportunity to think about the role of libraries. Bad libraries build collections. Good libraries build services. But great libraries build communities. I added the but. So we want to see Aylmer exercise vision and commitment to a downtown library. Albert Einstein, the only thing that you absolutely have to know is the location of the library. And we have a beautiful location. More on that. So it's about place, and I think when we were all at, a bunch of us anyways, were at the EECC, it was so clear, and I think it was Hugh McKenzie who said, really, you're going to put a library into this place? It's an inappropriate place for a library. It needs to be a place that embodies our yearnings and our curiosity, a touchstone for our own ideals and dreams, central to a community. And that's what urban planners talk about. And our local Kendall Wharton referred to that in her examination of the downtown of Aylmer. I'm hoping that that document will become more widely available for members of council and the rest of us to benefit from the study she did on Aylmer. She currently works at a neighboring municipality. And these are Chris's words, and here she is. Chris, hi. Chris awaits this decision. Look at her years of service. So free and accessible public place to gather, to use as a refuge, to wonder and wander, and to sit and to dream. It is a bit of a refuge. It's important that it remain in the downtown for that reason. That's always a mixed blessing, because the kind of role that libraries have now includes administering naloxone in certain moments. That was a recent CBC special. This is a comparison chart. I'm not going to go into detail because I think that we've gone over it elsewhere. Certainly at this forum, it was overwhelmingly clear that the EECC had its disadvantages. Similarly, when it was held at the EECC, that came out. Accessibility is a huge issue. Supporting the downtown. So this term that's being used in circles is that if you take it out, you contribute to the hollowing out of downtowns. So boarded up downtowns, we don't want any more of it than we have, it's always something to be addressed. You want to keep the energy downtown. Some people are very concerned that what should be a community center would be overwhelmed by its role as a library, and that would be a loss. Traffic issues, if you were at the ECC, you'll know that Kathleen Tribe said that it would be very dangerous in terms of traffic. Parking's an issue, and I'm going to go on because I don't have a lot of time. This is a Google map. There's a total, I'm going to check my notes here, there's a total of 26,000 square feet. And we're confident that a suitable design can be organized within that. There's a lot of space there, and come up with a beautiful design that is harmonious. It doesn't have to mimic what's there, but it needs to be harmonious. When I was creating my document, I talked about working with an architectural school because I have some good connections. It's getting late in the day, and I've spoken to the mayor, and I'm quite reassured by his assurance that we will have a design that is suitable within Bear Park. Not the park itself, so Bear Park is kind of for that entirety. I'm including the parking lot, you can see from the outline. So I think it's worth the council realizing that we have the opportunity to have a historic downtown square. And that would be the ideal. I know that there are competing interests for parking. There may be construction that happens in the nearby area. But we should be, as a town, very concerned that we retain our historic sensibility down there and the vibrancy of the area. So the value of that land as part of the equation in terms of costs comes in at around $1 million. And that gets factored in when you're looking at the total costs of a building. So I actually met with Brian Michelli before the county, it was in February, and I was showing him a draft of my document, and we talked about costs. And that's the basis upon which I did some feasibility work with the numbers. What you'll see is that because, and I'm going to ask for a visual aid, we do have a cash cow. So leasing covers a huge mortgage. I mean, not that you want to do that, but it costs a huge part. The other thing that I would like to share with you, and I think it's in the next slide. Oops, now I got to go back. Ooh, how do I go back? Oh. Okay, so just in terms of financing, which is the second point there, I had a little more time with the county. Can you hold the cow up again, Barb? So we have donors lined up. I know you think that's odd, but we have lost donors in the past. The town has. Now we, the town. When I said we've lined up donors, I'm actually referring to the group of people here. We lost the Palmers, and what was the other major donor we lost? Who remembers?
Charles Hume was money available.
Yeah.
Charles Hume Estate was out there. So
And there's one more, I think. Anyways, we've lost like more than $1 million, actually, by not being ready to build. And we have donors lined up. So you'd be losing money in that respect. And it's all part of the equation of how you put together the fundraising. There is money at the federal level. There is money at the provincial level. And many of us are quite capable of working on fundraising. The major donor would be awesome, and we could move on that quite quickly. So we have a vision. I'm going to see what these are. As I say, I developed it, role of Elgin County.
Cynthia, excellent presentation so far. You're at your
I'm
time
hitting my
limit.
end. Can I?
Can you wrap it up, please? Thank you.
Okay. I have to take this moment to thank Mayor Cookett, because the concern was that we were losing the opportunity to decide, and we could all have an excellent outcome if we joined together. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 5.12, could we have a motion, please?
That the delegation from Cynthia Grant regarding the Elmer Library be received for information.
Moved by Councillor Barber, seconded by Mayor Cookett. Discussion? All those in favor? And the motion is carried. Thank you. Items related, sorry. Items related to delegations, 521, communication, Main Street Elmer BIA letter.
That the communication from the Main Street Elmer Business Improvement Area regarding the Elmer Library remaining downtown be received for information.
Thank you. A mover for that. Councillor Oslach, Councillor Chapman. Discussion? All those in favor? And the motion is carried. 522, motion, Mayor Cookett, Library.
That council approve in principle the construction of an 8,000 square foot building to be leased to the County of Elgin for library purposes, and that a letter of intent as required by the County of Elgin be sent, and that the County of Elgin be asked for a long-term lease of 20 years, and that the County of Elgin be asked to establish a fundraising committee for this building, and that council single source the design of the new library to the town's appointed engineering firm, GEI Consultants, to proceed as soon as possible in 2025, and that GEI be directed to place priority upon a design that connects the Old Town Hall on both floors and is in keeping with the existing character and design of the Old Town Hall, and that GEI be further directed to examine costing for a standalone library build in close proximity to the Old Town Hall, and that interior design considerations be in collaboration with the County of Elgin, and that a 2025 budget amendment of $250,000 be approved by council towards the detailed engineering and architectural design sufficient to meet the grant requirements, and that this amount be funded through the council initiatives reserve.
Thank you. Can we have that's moved by Mayor Cookett. Can we have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Chapman? And discussion by council.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll try to be very brief, because there's a lot of stuff in this motion, so I'd like to touch on some points that you may have questions of, that councils may have questions about. First of all...
Mr. Mayor, can you get closer to your mic, please? I don't think everybody...
Can you hear me okay now?
Thank you.
If you can hear me at the back, put your hands up. Okay, thank you. First of all, this is a total package, so it avoids having to come back again and again with more motions to go to the next step. This is a package that covers the entire items except for the actual tender to build. Elgin County requires an actionable plan before it will commit to another lease. This motion covers that actionable plan. 2 public meetings have shown the opposition to the complex plan in support of a downtown plan. In support of a downtown plan. This is time sensitive. There is a need to act quickly before the county report on the complex. We need to show the county that we are serious and prevent further waste of time on the part of the county, because they have already used a lot of time and resources in the county to get this far. We want to show them that we are serious about doing this. Despite what some of the pages on Facebook say, this plan does not involve another study. We've had too many studies, we've had too many committees. What this plan does, it posits the location while allowing some options through using our own engineering firm, which we would also use for the engineering report on any building. Once you build a building, you need an engineering report, what's under the ground, et cetera, et cetera. So by using our own engineering firm, we save a bit of money because we can stipulate to this firm the kinds of options that we wish and take the construction and the design step by step. It is important to maintain the library in the Old Town Hall and to connect the theater with an overflow or social space. And that's why I would like to see them connected. For those of you that have been around here long enough, the original Venton plan did have connections to the upper part of the Old Town Hall. In fact, two connections, and two connections in the ground floor. And you'll also remember that the old Venton plan that people talk about actually covered all of the windows on the south side with glass, mind you, kind of dome that went all the way to the old house. And also, if you remember, the Venton plan, despite the fact that it covered the windows of the south facade of the Old Town Hall, did receive Heritage Ontario approval. So there's no reason why we have to worry about Heritage Ontario. So there's a lot of questions on other items, but this is an investment. We talk about debt. We talk about worry about money. We don't know what it's going to cost now, and I think it's going to cost a lot less than what people think. But anyway, this is an investment in the future. It's an investment in youth, it's an investment in seniors, it's an investment in families and others who wish to come here and those who wish to stay here. An investment in the integrity of downtown and in the integrity of the Old Town Hall. And of course, an investment in the quality of life here. So, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mayor Cookett. Anyone else? Councillor Oslech?
Your Worship, in 2011 the council at that time established a committee to find a new home for the library in downtown Aylmer. I was on that committee, along with one other councillor and 13 of the public. We looked at numerous locations within the downtown and settled on one. Build a 3-story library behind the Old Town Hall to the west, basement and 2 stories devoted to an adult section, and an atrium connected to the Old Town Hall will be the children's section. This would make about 10,000 square feet combined for the library. The council of the day turns it down in 2012. I stand by this proposal. This would leave Bear Park a green space.
Thank you. Anything to add, Councillor Oslech?
That's my report.
Thank you very much. Councillor DeRose?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question for whomever is able to answer about process. If this is approved by council and it goes before the county and it is not approved at the county level, is that 250,000 still being designated for a study?
Mayor Cookett, are you answering?
I can answer that.
Thank you.
Obviously, if the county says no, we're not going to use $250,000 to do any kind of study on something that we don't have a lessor for, right? Or lessee for.
Follow up?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I know we don't have specifics about funding. However, I feel our staff are quite experienced here, especially our treasurer, with having a rough ballpark figure of what we can expect. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I believe 12 years ago it was initially budgeted for a $5 million library. Is that more now? What is the cost that we're looking at the end result of this project for a new downtown library? And how will that impact the municipal tax levy? Because I know we don't have any reserve funding, so I would like to know the total projected cost as well as the percentage of increase that taxpayers can anticipate to cover that cost.
Mayor Cookett, you touched on that in your presentation.
Yeah, I just want to answer one part of that. 12 years ago, was it really 12 years ago? Yeah, it was 12 years ago. 12 years ago, the cost of the building as tendered was 2.4 million for 10,000 square feet. So we don't know what the cost of the new building will be yet, and I think GEI will give us some estimates, some high-level estimates when we ask them. So of course it's going to cost money, but I feel that with fundraising and with grants, and the grants are available for this type of thing, that it would be reasonable. So anyway, that's just talking about the last one.
Councilor DeRosa?
Yes, I would still seek staff's clarification. If it was 2.4, is that what we said, 2.5, 12 years ago? I think it's safe to assume that we can anticipate it to be more. And I would like clarification as to how that will impact the tax levy. And I think our treasurer should be able to answer that. What percentage is that going to accumulate to? Because I think the taxpayers, as well as this council, deserve to know that, and I would like an answer. Thank you.
Andy?
I can perhaps start, and I'm not sure if Heather will be able to jump in. Certainly, this project has not been put in the 10-year capital budget. So although there was a costing 12 years ago, if this is approved, what would happen is staff would try to work with GEI to get some numbers and get some analysis before the finance committee when we start to meet and start to discuss that capital budget, so that we would have a better idea. Anything that we would say now would probably just be a complete guesstimate on what square footage might cost for a building of that. So we don't have it, and the reason why we don't have it is because it hasn't been. What is happening tonight is essentially a shift in council's strategic priorities, and moving something that hasn't been a strategic priority to make it a strategic priority. And so that is kind of the process. I don't know if Heather, if you have anything to add, but I think the budget process is likely when we get into that.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I agree with Andy. We need a costed engineering design before we can do a financing plan. If we're talking ballpark numbers, we can run loan calculations all day long. But currently, this entire project would be funded out of debt, which again would be funded out of user rates. If we could use CCBF by that time, if we could have grants and donations, that would all be factored in. But without a cost of an actual plan that council wants to endorse, and with county approval, we can't tell you what the tax levy impact is if we don't know what we're costing.
Councilor DeRosa?
Yes, and maybe the treasurer can answer this, maybe she can't. If I put a number out there, $5 million, how would an unexpected $5 million capital cost impact the tax levy? Is the treasurer able to give me that percentage?
Heather?
Through you, Mr. Chair, $5 million impact would approximately be maybe 5.5 tax points if we're amortizing a loan over 10 years. And that's just the debt portion that needs to be covered. I'm not talking about operating costs. I'm not talking about lease revenue coming in. I'm not talking about, lost revenue from other areas or different utilization of the building. This is just the debt load, which would be principal and interest, around 5.5 points currently.
To be clear, before that's taken out of context, that's just taking the capital cost of the project and relaying that all to the tax base, excluding any grants, any donations. Okay, carrying around the table, Councillor Chapman, do you have any questions, comments?
It's in relation to what we would lose if we go to the EECC. So the estimated revenue from moving the library to the ECC is approximately $175,000 per year. Half of that would go to Malahide, half of that would go to Elmer. Lost revenue would be $43,500 for rental, 28,704 would be needed for an extra headcount for cleaning purposes, and additional expenses of $23,913. That total comes to $78,883, minus the revenue that we would get for the library being where it is now of $54,105.44. So yes, there is a cost involved to keeping it in the core, but there's also a loss involved in moving it to the complex. And if we don't step forward and put our own initiatives, that's where it's going to end up. And there's many reasons for it not to go there. And this is just a small example of what would happen. And it's about keeping a community together. If you move it to the complex, you're segregating some of the community from having access to the library. Yes, we're growing in that direction. However, people that will live in that direction will have transportation because they choose to live there. They know that in order to get downtown, they need a vehicle. People who live within the downtown core live within that core because they can get where they need to go without transportation. Maybe they don't have it, they're not able to use it, but not only that, our children walk from the Assumption School and McGregor School to the library. They will not have that opportunity if it's at the complex. Thames Valley does not have money for busing to take them there. So it doesn't matter how much programming the library has to offer. If the patrons can't get to it, the programs are of no value. And it's almost like you're taking it from one group that need it and giving it to another that have other means. So that's my comment on the library.
Thank you very much. Councillor Barber?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's been a lot of discussion on this from this council and way before this council, and I think we just need to come up with a decision. I want to just speak kind of bluntly and frank about my opinion on this. My son uses the library, he goes to the programs. If that library gets moved to the complex, my son's not walking there. I know how busy that road is, so I'm not sending him. So that will be, I don't know how many youth that won't be able to attend the library programs that are currently going there because they can't walk independently. I see a vision. I know this town needs more options for youth. My business used to run a youth night. We did that for a couple years, and we'd have anywhere from 20 to 30 kids aged 4 to 18 coming out and hanging out and just having fun for a couple hours. We expand the library, maybe there's an opportunity to expand and actually have more youth programs for the families that are here. I agree with Councillor Chapman that, yes, we are expanding out in that direction, but the library is central. It brings people downtown, which the businesses need, the community needs, and I believe to keep this community together, we need to keep the library where it is and look at expanding. I've had discussions with people outside of the delegations here. I keep hearing that there's money available and people want to donate to this cause. So I just feel we need to make a decision so that way, if there is money available, people can come forward and donate, and hopefully we can get a library built. But I just think we need to make a decision. I think what the mayor has proposed is the right decision, so I support that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll try to stay on course here. I remember going to the library 30 years ago was school, and it was too small then. It's definitely too small now. My problem that I have is everybody that I talk to, my age, 30-ish, 35-ish, they would love a new library, but they don't need their taxes to go up any higher. That is the struggle that I have with this topic, and this is a very challenging topic. I can't agree more that something needs to happen with this. I haven't been involved with this topic for super long, but I don't understand how it can go on so long without anything actually happening. But my challenge, the biggest challenge for me is the money that it is going to take, or the money that our taxes could go up. I mean, 5 points. That's a lot for a lot of families, and the library is super important. I'm not disagreeing. It's just, for me, the money that it takes to do it. Everyone wants a new library, but they don't want to pay for it, and that's people my age with kids from 0 to 10. I understand the importance of it. I have 2 kids that are in McGregor. They both go to the library. I went to Assumption. I went to Davenport. I went to the library. I know it's important. But money in this world is tight, and money is the driver of everything. I have a challenge with spending $250,000 on it and then still getting a bill in the end for everybody in this town, young, old, everybody, that has to pay for it. So that's my challenge. I understand it's important, but I also understand that we need to shit or get off the pot. And I think it's time to get off the pot. Thank you.
Thank you. At this particular time, I'd like to give you my thoughts. For quite a period of time, I was an advocate to move to the complex strictly as to help balance the books on a facility that was bleeding a lot of red ink. Over time, I've changed my position. At this particular time, the complex is much more viable. Susie Ray and her team should get a lot of credit for the number of boots that they've brought in the door, the number of seats that they've been able to get filled inside the complex, and the balance books of the complex are really much better now than they have been in many, many years. Yes, the complex does have lots of parking. A library out there could be done very quickly at a relatively low cost, and we get to share half of that cost with our neighboring municipalities. They get to share the revenue as well. The downtown spot has been advocated by this notice of motion. It's obviously going to cost money, as Councilor Rahi and Councilor DeRosa have mentioned, and everyone else on council is aware of. How we get to balance the books on that will take some creative work by the treasurer and a buy-in by council to make it happen. Obviously, the downtown location will take longer to happen, and parking can be an issue because we may or may not lose some of the parking spots, but that's up to the design. So I've shifted my position from an advocate for the complex and moving that support into the downtown core, and to make it happen. Stop the divisiveness within the town, begin to work together. Some projects may have to be delayed. A swimming pool would not be affordable within the time frame that was envisioned if we do the library. But that's just the way it is. We have to move on something, and at this particular time, the library makes sense. Without further ado, any other comments from council? Councilor Rahi?
I just want to add that I have a pile of respect for the amount of time that everyone has put into this and the passion that they do have for the old town hall and the library. And it's not that I dislike the building at all. It's a beautiful building. She is a beautiful building. It's not a personal thing for me. It's all money. So thank you.
Councilor Asach, summarization?
Well, I'm only on council for 15 years. I have been on several library committees. I've been in, and moved the complex with the deputy mayor. I moved the complex, the library to Myrtle Street, and various locations over the 15 years there as I've been on council, and it's time to make it a decision. It's we get it off the pot now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor DeRossi, a summarization?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to echo many of the comments that Councillor Rahi has made, and also extend my gratitude to the constituents who have taken time, regardless of their stance, to advocate for what they believe in. And just as Member Rahi said, for me, this isn't about an emotional decision for me. I do love that building as well. I see the potential for that building. For me, what it really comes down to is the financial component of it. And there's a lot of stuff happening with this town. There's the Elk Street reconstruction, the lagoon optimization, SCADA, the police station upgrades, the boundary adjustment, the repairs that are necessary for Old Town Hall as it stands alone right now. There's just a lot of things that need to be done, and the money is getting tighter. So again, it comes down to the financial component, and I think I've been very transparent with this crowd about how I feel about that. So with that, I guess that's it. Thank you.
We have our work cut out for us. Any other comments before we vote on the matter? Councillor Barber?
Just wanted to comment, and I know financially this could have a big impact, but I keep hearing about grants that are available. I keep hearing about, like I said, mentioned before, people say they have donations. So if this is the time the council is going to step up, then the people that say they have donations, we're asking to put your money, for lack of a better term, don't take this the wrong way, put your money where your mouth is, and let's get this done. I think long-term, even if there is a cost upfront to taxpayers, I think long-term, this is going to benefit the community in like 20, 30 years down the road. And we're going to be able to look back and say, we're glad we kept it here and not moved it to the complex. So.
Thank you. Not seeing any more conversations to begin with, let's call a vote.
Could we have a recorded vote?
If you wish.
Yes, please.
Does anyone need the notice of motion read out again? Okay.
Councillor Rahe.
No.
Councillor Barber.
Yes.
Councillor Chapman.
Yes.
Councillor Desrosiers.
No.
Councillor Oslich. Yes. Mayor Cookett.
Yes.
And Deputy Mayor Barber.
Yes.
And the motion is carried 5-2.
Mayor Cookett, the chair is yours.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to call a recess for Welcome back. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda resolution.
That the May 21st, 2025 consent agenda be received for information, and that the included recommendations within the staff reports be adopted, and that the council approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on May 7th, 2025.
Mover and seconder, Councillor Barber and Deputy Mayor Barber. So, any comments or questions on this? Seeing none, I guess all in favor of the resolution. That's carried, thank you. That was easy, right? 7, action item 7.1, Director of Emergency Services, Fire Department Cancer Prevention Resolution.
That report Fire 03-25 regarding the Elmer Fire Department Cancer Prevention Program be received for information.
Mover and seconder, Councillor Desrosiers and Councillor Chapman. Fire Chief Crozier.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, and good evening, members of council. The Cancer Prevention Program is designed to help protect our firefighters from cancers associated with firefighting. This program, along with our respiratory program that was introduced 2 years ago, serves as a strong example of our commitment to firefighter health, safety, and well-being. The program was in your package. Both of them are attached, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that any of you have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Council? Deputy Mayor Barber.
Thank you. Just a quick comment. Several years ago, I was a proud member of the Ontario Association of Fire Chiefs Board of Directors when we were able to get the province to buy into the concept of having volunteer firefighters protected from the cancer, or at least have cancer coverage, in addition to the full-time firefighters, which was already in effect. Cancer is a disease that is more prone to firefighters than other segments of the population. And the coverage that was enacted now and continues to this day is, I hope, appreciated by the firefighters themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one, all in favor of the motion is carried. Thank you. Item 7.2, Director of Financial Services Budget Timelines Resolution.
That report Finance 10-25 respecting the 2026 budget timelines be received for information, and that council, subject to publishing of the proposed budget on November 13th, 2025, under subsection 7.1 of Ontario Regulation 53022, council reduced the time period set out in 7.3 of Ontario Regulation 5322 to pass a resolution making an amendment to the proposed budget from 30 days to 20 days, and that council, subject to the publishing of a proposed budget on November 13th, 2025, under subsection 7.1 of Ontario Regulation 53022, council reduced the time period set out in 7.10 of Regulation 53022 to override the head of council's veto of an amendment to the proposed budget from 15 days to 12 days.
All right, thank you. Mover and seconder. Councillor Chapman, Councillor Oslech. Heather.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Through you and to members of council, staff wanted to provide this to council, the proposed 2026 budget timelines in advance of the, with the similar timing that we had for last year. So staff wanted to have ample opportunity for council feedback to be considered, for the Finance Committee to be considered, the budget survey, the Mayor's Town Hall, all those things that we have been doing in the past. But the change also for this year would be to incorporate the strong mayor's powers in the timeline. So we value the public input on and this engagement from all these areas. And Andy, Owen, and I have attended a few of these strong mayor power forums that affect different areas that we all govern. So we'll be here to answer any questions that you have regarding those additional timelines in there.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Questions from council? No questions. Okay, thank you very much. All those in favor of the resolution? That's carried. Thank you. 7.3, Director of Financial Services Employee Handbook Revision Resolution.
That report, HR 03-25, entitled HR Employee Handbook Revision, be received for information, and that council endorse the amended employee handbook for town staff distribution.
Mover and seconder, Councillor Chapman, Deputy Mayor Barber. Heather, or Ruth, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to members of council, this report seeks council endorsement of revisions to the current employee handbook and authorization to distribute the revised handbook to staff. The revisions include changes to current policies to remain competitive and improve employee recruitment and retention, as well as some housekeeping amendments. One new policy regarding corporate social media has been added. Since the last handbook update in mid-2023, staff have continued to review council-approved policies, taking into consideration feedback received from exit interviews, current employee feedback, changes in legislation, municipal competitive best practices, and consideration of council's strategic objectives. The following policies have been amended or included to ensure that the town of Aylmer remains a competitive employer of choice. The first one is the workplace discrimination, harassment, and violence policy has been amended by simply replacing any reference to prohibited grounds to protected grounds. This change was recommended by an external HR investigator to reflect modern context, as the Ontario Human Rights Code was originally acted back in 1962 and has evolved their language over time. The second policy is our current WSIB payments, claims management, and early and safe return to work. This policy has not changed at all. We have simply moved it from our health and safety policies, separate from the handbook, to the easily accessible employee handbook located in Laserfiche for ease of reference for staff. The third and fourth policy, temporary backfill, extended absences, and inclement weather policy. These policies were already approved by council but have now been consolidated into the handbook. And the fourth policy, which is a new policy, corporate social media. Similar to changing the wording of our workplace discrimination, harassment, and violence policy, development of a policy that provides direction on how the town of Aylmer utilizes social media and online interactive channels was a recommendation from an external HR investigator. This new policy is being presented as a routine improvement to support the town's communication program and to support continued effective use of social media by the town, staff, and members of council. This policy was developed by the Legislative Services Department and draws from best practices used in other Ontario municipalities, including the municipality of Chatham-Kent and the town of Whitby. Staff are confident that the resulting policy reflects Aylmer's needs and will promote responsible, constructive online engagement. There are no budgetary impacts regarding the changes to any of the policies described. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ruth. Council? Deputy Mayor Barber?
Thank you to Ruth. You mentioned that the staff would be provided with,
Yes.
and in my terminology, handbook is a little handbook. Is it actually going to be that, or is it going to be a stick, or is it, what's it going to be? And could council get a copy of the handbook?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the handbook is currently located on our Laserfiche homepage. So staff can log in and access the handbook, but it's certainly something that we could provide easily to council. It's not a paper copy.
Owen, you had
Many
something
pages
there?
long.
Owen?
Just for council's assistance too, it's also publicly available on our website. And we can distribute it to staff and council by email.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution, and that is carried. Thank you. 7.4, Chief Administrative Officer's AMO Delegation Topics Resolution.
That report, CAO 26-25, respecting the 2025 AMO delegation, be received as information, and that council endorse the town applying for delegations as outlined in the report, CAO 26-25, and the town additionally endorse space for council to add additional delegations.
All right. Thank you. Mover and seconder, Councilor Roslach, Councilor Barber.
Sorry.
Andy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So before you, we have some proposed AMO delegations for this year. They're fairly well explained in the report, so I won't go into detail upon any of them unless there's a desire of council. Ultimately, these are council's delegations, so staff are just advancing some ideas on items that we think have the biggest potential impact for positive outcomes for the town. But certainly, these are council's delegations, so it's entirely up to you what the town delegates upon. And with that, we'll try to answer any questions of council.
Council? Councilor Rosier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to staff, to Andy, will our municipal partners be involved in our delegations regarding the boundary adjustment and the EECC?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we previously had invited Malahide to participate in the boundary adjustment discussion at Roma, and they declined. If council desires to extend one, we certainly can. With the EECC, we can also extend an invite to them if you would like that. Some of the nature of what we're looking for in terms of that might lean more towards Old Town Hall or the decision tonight on the library from council more than recreation focused, because that's kind of our strategic priority now. But certainly if they're interested in attending, we could invite them for sure.
Go ahead.
Just to follow up, so just to confirm, obviously if we're focusing on the library one with the Minister of Culture, we don't have to include them, but with the boundary adjustment, I think it's in our best interest and in the interest of diplomacy to invite them. So can you confirm that we are going to invite them?
Sure.
Or do you need a resolution from council?
I don't think we need a resolution. I think we can just invite them.
Okay.
Yeah, we still have not heard back yet from Malahide on our offer to negotiate too. So if we don't hear back before the next council meeting, there will likely be a further report because it has been a month and a half since we held our public meeting.
So just to be sure, Randy, you're saying that we would invite them fairly soon, or are you going to invite them after the Malahide meeting?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm just outlining that Elmer's offer request to negotiate hasn't received a response. We did that request to negotiate, and you sent that letter that answered their questions. We haven't heard any response from them yet, and so we can certainly invite them to attend, and I certainly do hope that we get a chance to sit down and start discussing that with them
Okay.
in the near future.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Deputy Mayor Barber.
Thank you. Just a clarification, and to Andy, when we're talking delegations, are we talking individual delegations to certain ministries, or are we lumping our 4 topics into one discussion? How does that work?
Can be 4. Randy.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, once you submit a delegation, it's up to the ministries to approve it or not. And we did have a lot of success, although I think the last time we only got 1 delegation out of our 3 requests at that time. So we are targeting 4 separate items with different ministries to hopefully sit down and go through it. And we hope that we'll get at least 15 minutes to talk on each topic, which is usually what they assign.
Yeah. Just to clarify a little further, these, if you approve of these delegations will be considered official town delegations. Individuals can have their own delegations, but they would not be considered town delegations. But there's nothing wrong with that, because anybody can ask for a delegation from the ministry. But these 4, there's 4 of them, right? These 4 would be considered official town delegations. And you had a further question, Councillor Desrosiers. Is that 5?
Sorry, 5, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, that was point number one I was going to clarify was that there was 5, I was pretty sure. And feel free to interject as far from staff, but my experience applying for delegations is you apply to one specific, the ministries are independent or individual, so it's not a application that goes for all these things. It's specifically for like the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. There's 3 points here. It would be one delegation request, and you are able to put in 3 separate points. That's how it was with Roma. I'm just seeking clarification from staff if it's a similar process for AMO.
Yes, through the mayor to Councillor Desrosiers, that's correct. You can apply for 3 topics to any individual minister.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, all those in favor of the motion, and it is carried. Thank you. 8, correct, yeah. 8.1, motion by Deputy Mayor Barber on Canada flag banners. We have a resolution.
Whereas Canada's sovereignty and national identity are fundamental to the unity and pride of its people, and this is a time for Canadians and residents of the town of Elmer to express their pride in being Canadian. And whereas both the Business Improvement Area and the Elmer Legion currently display banners on town light poles along John Street and Talbot Street in the downtown area, and whereas a set of banners for the downtown typically costs approximately $2,500 with additional costs related to Parks and Recreation staff time required for installation and removal, and whereas Canada Day is approaching, providing an opportunity to visibly express community pride and unity, now therefore be it resolved that staff be directed to purchase a set of Canada flag banners for installation on the existing banner locations along John Street and Talbot Street, and that the Canada flag banners be raised for the entire month of July to coincide with Canada Day celebrations and foster community spirit. And the required funds for this project be drawn from the Council Initiatives Reserve, and that this motion be further circulated to the Business Improvement Area for awareness.
Mover and seconder, Councillor Rahi, Councillor Oslach. Okay. Council. Councillor Rahi.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, this would be an annual thing that we would do once we purchase the banners? Like, would we do it annually every July?
That would be my hope, and if it's longer than the period of just July, why not be a proud Canadian all year round up until Remembrance Day and when we honor the vets?
Councillor Barber.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe the banners that the BIA purchases, they last a few years, so hopefully if there's banners that we purchase, we don't have to purchase every year. Hopefully there's something that we can reuse as long as they're not damaged.
For my information, they're expected to last at least 3 or 4 years.
Anyone? Councillor Desrosiers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Firstly, I do support this motion. I think it's a great initiative. The only thing I wanted to bring up, not only to this council as well as the BIA, hopefully they get this information, our BIA members can communicate to them. Touring other municipalities, I've seen the initiative similar. However, instead of it being a cloth banner, they are like a fabricated metal with a powder coated, so they last forever. I just thought that was really unique and interesting. I know there'd probably be a higher cost associated, but I think that cost compounded over time, it might actually be cheaper. So again, I do support this. I don't think there's a need to postpone this, but just something for both council and the committee's consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution? As carried, thank you. Next item, reading of bylaws and proceedings there on resolutions.
That council gives 3 readings to and approves bylaw 36-25, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 57-99, being the zoning bylaw of the town of Elmer. Bylaw 38-25, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council held at the regular council meeting on May 7th, 2025. Bylaw 40-25 being a bylaw to authorize the signing of an agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Elmer and Hamilton Community Enterprises for Elmer Wide Area Network Services.
Great, thank you. We have a mover and seconder. Councillor Chapman and Councillor Chapman and Councillor Barbara, sorry, my mic's not working. So are there any comments, questions on any of these? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried, thank you. Inquiries by members? Councillor Desrosiers?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One topic that was discussed briefly with staff a while ago, as well as community members, was specifically the facade grant that the town offers. I had a couple businesses inquire regarding the grant funding, and both of us came to find out that the area of their business is not within the downtown designation that the town established. However, there was some confusion because they were within the downtown designation of the BIA. So that discussion that I had with staff at that time was that they were looking to revise, I don't know, with planning or who it was with, about a different, about amending that designation. I just wanted to see if there was an update regarding that because of that reason. Thank you.
I think there is. Andy?
Certainly, yeah. I was talking with Heather James about this, I believe, yesterday, obviously yesterday, because Monday was a holiday. And one of the issues that we were considering with it is that that area is still eligible for ELG incentives, which is not our CIP program, but is a CIP program. And they are currently doing a CIP update, and I believe they're going to initiate a report to County Council in August. So what we were considering was waiting to see what the county does so that we're not, because there's a requirement to have a public hearing and a process here when we update it. So we'd rather try to coordinate so that we're doing one so that we're concurrent with any county one. So staff it is on the radar and we're continuing to work on it.
Thank you very much.
Any other inquiries? Statements and committee reports by members, by councillors. Councillor Barber? Excuse me.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I just have a brief update on Project Lifesaver because the town was supportive of that, and that's been a project that we've been working on for just about 2 years now. So it's been a longer process than we anticipated, but I've had a meeting with Elgin OPP as well as Elmer Police, and we're finally going to be moving forward with opening that up to vulnerable individuals that will benefit from this program. So we do have a media day booked for next week. Let me just double check the date. So this will be on the 27th at 10 a.m. in Springwater Park. We are going to be announcing Project Lifesaver and doing a demonstration as well. So we're very excited about moving that forward.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I do not have a report. Item 13, notice of motion. Is there any notice of motion? Seeing none, we have a resolution to move into close.
That council moves into a meeting closed to the public at 8:20 p.m. to discuss the following matters. Human Resources Manager Report 04-25, HR Handbook and Employee Policy Updates. Director of Financial Services and Treasurer Report Finance 11-25, Property Transaction. Chief Administrative Officer Report 24-25, Recruitment Operations Manager. Director of Financial Services Report HR 05-25, Updates to the Employee Agreements. And Director of Financial Services Report Finance 12-25, Pay Administration Policy. And that consideration of these items is closed to the public pursuant to Section 239, 2B, C, and D of the Municipal Act as amended, as the subject matter pertains to B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, and D, labor relations or employee negotiations.
Thank you. Mover and seconder. Councillor Barber and seconder, please. Councillor Rosier. All those in favor? Carried. We now take a brief recess and move into closed. Welcome back, everyone. We have a resolution coming out of closed.
That council rise from a meeting closed to the public at 9:13 PM and reports the following. The council received for information, Manager of Human Resources Report 04-25, HR Handbook and Employee Policy Updates, Director of Financial Services and Treasurer Report regarding property transaction, CAO Report 24-25 regarding a Recruitment Operations Manager, Director of Financial Services Report regarding updates to employee agreements, Director of Financial Services Report Finance 12-25 regarding the pay administration policy, and that the council provided confidential direction to staff.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, Councillor Barber and Councillor Rahi. All those in favor? Is carried. Have a resolution to adjourn.
That council do now adjourn at 9:14 PM.
Mover and seconder, Councillor Desrosiers and Deputy Mayor Barber. All those in favor? Is carried. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good meeting.